Isadora Lima had stopped feeling her feet 3 hours ago, but shame was wide awake. But before we dive into this story of unexpected encounters and life-changing moments, don't forget to subscribe and comment where you're watching this video from. Now, let's begin. Isadora Lima had stopped feeling her feet 3 hours ago, but shame was wide awake. The fluorescent lights of O'Hare's Terminal 3 blurred into streaks as she dragged her cleaning cart past business travelers who didn't see her. Brown skin, curly hair pulled back, hands cracked from bleach. She'd worked 3 back-to-back shifts and spent the night in Cook County Hospital's ER with Mrs. Rodriguez from 4B, holding the old woman's hand while doctors stitched a gash from a fall. No sleep, no food, just the uniform that smelled like industrial lemon and sweat. Her phone buzzed. Lucas. Again. Not now, she whispered, silencing it. She turned a corner, following a group in pressed suits through automatic doors she'd never passed before. The hallway narrowed. Marble replaced linoleum. The air smelled different. Leather, expensive cologne, money. A woman in a crisp uniform appeared, smiling with practiced warmth. Miss Lima? Isadora blinked. Perfect timing. Right this way, please. Before she could protest, she was being ushered through glass doors into a private lounge where soft jazz played and champagne waited on silver trays. The woman guided her down a jet bridge. Isadora's confusion mounted with every step. There must be a mistake, she started. You're exactly where you need to be. The door of the private jet opened. Leather seats, mahogany trim. A man stood with his back to her, shoulders rigid, phone pressed to his ear. His voice was low, controlled, edged with grief poorly hidden. The hostess gestured Isadora inside. The man turned. Raphael Matthews. She knew the face. Everyone in Chicago did. Billionaire. Widower. The man who built clinics in neighborhoods that banks abandoned. His eyes were gray, distant, carrying the weight of someone who'd stopped sleeping months ago. Then a cry split the silence. A baby's wail, raw and desperate. Raphael's jaw tightened, his hand moving helplessly toward the car seat. The jet bridge retracted with a hydraulic hiss that sealed Isadora's fate. She stood frozen, cartless, uniformed, utterly out of place in a cabin worth more than her entire apartment building. The baby's cry escalated. Not hunger, not discomfort, but genuine distress. Raphael looked at his son with the helplessness of a man who could buy solutions but couldn't soothe a 6-month-old. Sir, we need to... Assistant appeared from the cockpit, tablet in hand, eyes avoiding Isadora entirely. Instinct moved faster than thought. Isadora crossed to the car seat, her hands, rough, capable, used to emergencies at 3 a.m., unbuckling Michael with practiced efficiency. She lifted him, checked his breathing, felt his forehead, examined his color. He's okay, she said quietly, adjusting his position against her shoulder. Just scared. The pressure change. Her voice shifted into the low hum she used with Marina during nightmares, a melody without words. Michael's sobs hitched, stuttered, softened. His tiny fist clutched her uniform collar. Raphael stared. The assistant stared. The world outside the window began to move. Wait, I shouldn't be here, Isadora said, panic finally catching up. This is a mistake. I clean terminals. We're taxiing. The pilot's voice crackled through speakers. Departure in 3 minutes. Raphael's phone rang. He glanced at the screen, Matthew's group board, and declined it. His eyes returned to Isadora, to his son quiet for the first time in hours. What's your name? His voice was rough, unused to asking. Isadora Lima. But listen, do you know infant CPR? The question landed like a test. She met his gaze. Yes. And the Heimlich, and how to spot meningitis versus a normal fever. My sister had croup twice. My neighbor's grandson has asthma. Something shifted in Raphael's expression. Recognition, perhaps, of competence born from necessity rather than training manuals. Then sit, please. The jet engines roared to life. Isadora looked at the baby in her arms, at the man whose grief hung around him like expensive cologne, at the world outside accelerating toward a decision she never chose. Where are we going? Lisbon. Portugal? Yes. She closed her eyes. opened them. I don't have a passport. Raphael's eyes narrowed, processing the problem the way he processed failing quarterly reports. Quickly, ruthlessly. James, he called to the assistant. Get legal on the phone. Now. The jet climbed through cloud cover, Chicago shrinking beneath them. Isadora felt her life shrinking with it. The apartment where Lucas and Marina waited. The classes she'd miss. The shifts she'd lose. Mrs. Kaminsky would fire her for this. 3 jobs down to 2, maybe 1. Michael made a small sound, content now, his breathing evening out against her chest. Raphael watched them both with an intensity that made her skin prickle. I have a passport, she lied, then immediately regretted it. I mean, I don't. I've never even been on a plane before. First time. A ghost of something almost human crossed his face. Not quite a smile. Michael's third. He hates takeoff. Most babies do. The ear pressure. The pediatrician said that. Raphael's tone carried surprise. You're a nurse? Night school. Community college. When I can afford it. The words came out sharper than intended. I clean offices so rich people don't have to see the people who empty their trash. Silence stretched between them. Not hostile, but measuring. James reappeared, tablet glowing. Sir, legal says without documentation, customs in Miami will... I know what they'll do. Raphael interrupted. Get me the VP of International Operations and call ahead to immigration. I want someone there when we land. Sir, do it. James vanished. Raphael turned back to Isadora, and for the first time she saw past the tailored suit and titanium watch to the man underneath, exhausted, grieving, barely holding together. I'm sorry, he said quietly. This is my fault. The agency sent a photo of someone named Lima. I assumed that the brown girl in a cleaning uniform couldn't possibly be the nanny you hired. His jaw tightened. Yes, at least he was honest. I should be angry, Isadora said, adjusting Michael's weight. I should be screaming, but I'm too tired, and he needs someone right now, so does his father. Raphael's composure cracked slightly. I don't know how to... Breathe, she said simply. Start there. Miami International Airport Customs had all the warmth of a police interrogation. The agent, a woman with eyes like a metal detector, examined Isadora's Illinois ID as if it might explode. Behind them, travelers streamed through automated gates. Ahead, glass offices held the people who decided your worth in 30 seconds. Purpose of international travel? Isadora opened her mouth. No sound came. Raphael stepped forward, all corporate armor back in place. Ms. Lima is traveling with my son as his caregiver. I have documentation. For her, passport, visa? There was a miscommunication with... Sir, step back, please. The agent's tone could freeze coffee. Ma'am, when did you purchase your ticket? I didn't know this wasn't planned. The agent's expression shifted from suspicious to certain. Come with me. A security officer appeared. Not threatening exactly, but present in a way that made options disappear. Raphael's phone rang constantly. James hovered, whispering logistics that solved nothing. Michael began to fuss again, sensing the tension. 20 minutes, the agent said, leading Isadora to a private room that smelled like fear and bureaucracy. You'll wait here while we verify your story. It's not a story, it's just complicated. The door closed. Locked. Through the window, she watched Raphael argue with officials, gesturing sharply, phone pressed to his ear. Michael screamed now, that particular cry that meant strangers handling him badly. 2 uniformed women tried to comfort him while Raphael's lawyers, she assumed lawyers, formed a wall of expensive suits. Isadora pressed her hand to the glass. She'd felt this before. The weight of systems designed to crush people who couldn't afford lawyers, who cleaned bathrooms in airports they'd never fly through. The presumption of guilt because her skin was the wrong shade and her uniform was the wrong brand. She thought of Lucas, who'd been stopped 5 times last month for matching a description. Of Marina, learning to make herself smaller in stores so security wouldn't follow her. The door opened. Not the agent. A man in a different kind of uniform, expensive, custom fit, radiating authority money bought. Ms. Lima, I'm Marcus Chen, Matthews Group Counsel. We have a situation. Situation was rich person speak for catastrophe someone else had to fix. Marcus Chen laid out options like a chess player explaining checkmate. The story leaked. TMZ has footage. Mystery woman boards billionaire's private jet. It's trending. Through the glass, Isadora watched a woman in designer clothes approach Raphael, all teeth and calculation. She touched his arm too long, laughed at something he didn't laugh at, angled herself for photographs that weren't being taken yet but would be. "Who's that?" Isadora asked. Marcus followed her gaze. "Bianca Valen, PR director. She's managing the narrative. By making me disappear, by finding you a hotel, arranging a return flight, compensation for the inconvenience. Hush money. Resolution," Marcus corrected smoothly. Isadora looked at Michael, still crying in a stranger's arms, at Raphael, surrounded by people but utterly alone, at the door that would let her escape back to her real life. 3 jobs, night school, a future measured in survival rather than dreams. "No," she said. Marcus blinked. "I'm sorry?" I said no. "I'm not some mistake you erase with a check and an NDA. That baby needs someone who actually cares, not another employee." She stood, legs shaking but voice steady. "And his father needs to stop letting people like you make decisions about his son. Ms. Lima, let me out." He hesitated, made a call. The lock clicked open. Isadora walked straight to the cluster of suits and bodyguards, past Bianca's perfectly timed concern, directly to Raphael. "Give him to me." The woman holding Michael, some aide, terrified and incompetent, practically threw the baby at her. Michael's cries subsided the moment he recognized her smell, her rhythm. Raphael stared at her like she'd just walked through a wall he'd thought was solid. "You came back. I didn't leave. They locked me in a room like I stole something." She adjusted Michael's position, felt his diaper, wet, of course. "You have a changing kit?" "In the car. They wouldn't let me." "Then get it. Now. While I'm standing here, he's my responsibility, and he needs a clean diaper, not a PR strategy." The Atlantic stretched beneath them, endless and indifferent to human drama. Isadora sat in leather worth more than her rent, feeding Michael a bottle while Raphael worked 3 screens simultaneously, conference calls, contracts, decisions affecting thousands of lives. He'd removed his jacket, loosened his tie. The corporate armor was slipping. "You didn't have to come," he said during a gap between calls. "Marcus would have handled everything. Marcus wanted to make me disappear. There's a difference. The board wants me to issue a statement. Apologize for the confusion. Distance myself from the cleaning lady?" She met his eyes. "Say it. From the optics of spontaneous travel arrangements that raise questions about judgment, and just say you're embarrassed of me." "I'm not." The words came out harder than intended. "I'm embarrassed of them, of a world where competence matters less than credentials. Where you probably know more about caring for Michael than the agency nanny with 3 references and a background check." Michael finished the bottle. Isadora burped him with practiced efficiency. "Your board sounds delightful. They're protective. The company went public 2 years ago. My wife died 18 months ago. They see me as a liability." He paused. "They might be right. Is that what you tell yourself? That grief makes you weak?" Raphael's hand stilled on his keyboard. "My mother died when I was 15, Isadora continued, her voice steady. "Lupus. No insurance. I had to learn fast how to be strong, not because I wanted to, because Lucas and Marina needed someone who wouldn't fall apart. Strength isn't about not breaking. It's about what you build from the pieces." Silence filled the cabin except for the jet's engines. "How old is Marina now?" Raphael asked finally. 14. Smart as hell. Terrified she'll fail. "And Lucas?" 19. Angry at the world. Working gig jobs that'll get him killed or arrested. She looked at Michael, sleeping now. "I'm failing them both. You're keeping them alive. That's not failure. It's not enough." The admission hurt. "Marina deserves better than watching me scrub toilets. Lucas deserves better than thinking money only comes from risks that break you." Raphael closed his laptop. What would enough look like? A nursing degree. A job with benefits. A home where we're not one emergency from eviction. Basic things people like you consider baseline. Lisbon gleamed white and golden under Portuguese sun. A city built on hills and history that didn't care about American scandals. The hotel suite overlooked the Tagus River. 3 bedrooms, marble bathrooms, a balcony where breakfast appeared on silent carts. Isadora stood at the window, feeling like a fraud in borrowed clothes. Bianca had arranged everything: designer outfits, a hair appointment, talking points for the casual press availability. Smile. Say you're grateful for Mr. Matthews's generosity. Emphasize it was a simple misunderstanding. We're framing this as a heartwarming story, not a crisis. Isadora had nodded through the briefing while mentally cataloging the ways she was being packaged, sanitized, made safe for consumption. Now, alone with Michael while Raphael attended preliminary partnership meetings, she noticed things: the hotel stationery in Bianca's handwriting, notes about containing the narrative, and exit strategies. A tablet left charging, emails visible. Caesar wants timeline. Can you accelerate the board vote? She shouldn't look. Should mind her business, take the settlement, go home. But the girl who'd learned to spot trouble on Southside streets knew danger when it smelled like expensive perfume and corporate patience. She photographed the emails with hands that didn't shake. Raphael returned late, exhausted, carrying stress like a second suit. Michael reached for him immediately, and for a moment, the billionaire melted into just a father holding his son. The partnership's solid, he said. Affordable clinics across Portugal. Real change. And the board? His expression darkened. Conference call tomorrow. Vote on my voluntary leave to focus on personal matters. For Michael's well-being. That's not about Michael. No. He set Michael in his playpen, poured whiskey he didn't drink. It's about control. Bianca's been feeding stories, questioning my judgment. Using you as evidence. I'm unstable. Because I exist? Because you're proof I make decisions they can't predict or profit from. He finally looked at her. I'm sorry you're caught in this. Isadora pulled out her phone, showed him the photographs. Then catch them instead. Raphael's eyes went cold as corporate steel as he read. When he looked up, something dangerous lived in his expression. Not anger, but calculation. Where did you get this? I pay attention to people who don't think I matter. Useful skill. The board meeting happened via secure video conference. 15 faces in expensive squares, all pretending concern while sharpening knives. Raphael sat at the hotel suite's dining table, camera positioned, Michael playing nearby. Isadora stayed just out of frame, as instructed. Invisible again. Bianca led with sympathetic efficiency. Raphael, we're worried. These recent incidents suggest you might benefit from stepping back, temporarily. Let the executive team handle operations while you focus on Michael. Incidents? Raphael's tone stayed neutral. You mean the logistics error in Chicago? Among other lapses in judgment. The optics have been challenging. Caesar Davlin appeared in his square, smile sharp as litigation. The Portuguese deal, while admirable, lacks the ROI our shareholders expect. Perhaps if you had more bandwidth. The deal's finalized. Terms are better than projected. But the timeline is irrelevant to this discussion. Raphael leaned forward. What's this really about? Silence, the kind that precedes corporate executions. We received documentation, Bianca said carefully, suggesting emotional volatility, decisions influenced by personal rather than business considerations. For Michael's well-being, we think. You think a voluntary leave protects the company from my grief, while you restructure divisions I built. More silence. Checkmate acknowledged, but not yet accepted. Raphael, may I speak? Isadora stood, moved into frame before anyone could object. 15 faces registered shock, confusion, some satisfaction that the scandal now came to them. I'm Isadora Lima, the incident from Chicago. And I have information you need to hear. This is highly inappropriate, Bianca started. Shut up. Isadora's voice carried the authority of someone who'd broken up street fights and held dying hands. For 2 days I've watched you manipulate a man grieving his wife, gaslight him about his competence while planning a hostile restructure of his healthcare division. She produced her phone. I have emails between Ms. Valen and Mr. Davlin, timelines for selling the tech division, plans to use Michael's needs as justification, even a prepared fire sale to investors waiting for the price to drop. Cesar's square went very still. That's privileged communication. That's conspiracy to commit fraud, using a child as leverage, in writing. Raphael took the phone, sent the files to the board's shared drive. Check your emails, every conversation, every plan, including the part where you arranged press leaks to build a case for my removal. Bianca's composure shattered like porcelain. The aftermath moved with the cold efficiency of consequences finally arriving. The board launched an immediate audit. Bianca was suspended pending investigation. Caesar's Square disappeared from future meetings. The company's legal team descended like ravens, picking through emails and bank transfers that told stories of ambition without ethics. Raphael held a press conference not from corporate headquarters, but from the Lisbon clinic site. Construction equipment behind him, workers in frame, the future visible and tangible. "I'm announcing a partnership with community colleges across our markets," he said, reading from notes Isadora had helped draft. "Full scholarships and paid internships for nursing students from underserved communities, because competence doesn't come from privilege. It comes from people who've learned to care when no one was watching." The cameras loved it. The board couldn't touch it. The narrative shifted from scandal to redemption so fast Bianca's carefully planted stories withered like lies in sunlight. But that wasn't the real story. The real story happened in a South Side apartment where Lucas waited, angry and scared, until Isadora video called with news of a tech assistant position. Entry level, benefits included, tuition support if he finished his degree. "You did this," he accused, suspicion warring with hope. "Mr. Matthews created the program. I just reminded him people like us exist. I don't want charity. It's not charity, it's policy. You'll earn it or lose it like anyone else. The only gift is the chance." Lucas was silent for a long moment. "Okay, I'll try." Marina appeared on screen, science fair medal around her neck. "Isadora, I won. And they said colleges might offer scholarships for projects like mine." Watching her sister's joy, Isadora felt something crack open in her chest, not breaking, but expanding, making room for possibility. Raphael stood at the balcony, Michael asleep against his shoulder, looking at Lisbon's lights like they held answers. "You could stay," he said without turning. "There's a nursing program here. International students welcome. I'm not offering rescue, just options. I have people who need me in Chicago." "I know." He turned finally. "I'm not asking you to choose me over them. I'm asking if there's a world where you don't have to choose at all. That's a fantasy people like you tell yourselves. Maybe. Or maybe it's what happens when someone refuses to disappear just because it's convenient." The distance between them felt both infinite and crossable. 3 months later, Isadora walked into Cook County Hospital wearing scrubs that actually fit and a badge that said nursing intern. The scholarship covered tuition. The internship paid enough to keep the apartment and bring Lucas's income legal. Marina video called twice weekly, showing off science projects and college brochures. Mrs. Rodriguez recovered and started teaching Isadora's new neighbor kids how to make tamales. Raphael flew to Chicago once a month. Business, he claimed, though the visits always included Michael's pediatric appointments at the Southside Clinic and dinners where they argued about healthcare policy and didn't talk about the thing they both felt building. He never pressured, never assumed, just showed up, consistently, like someone learning that love wasn't about rescue, but about showing up when it's inconvenient. On a Tuesday evening after Isadora's shift ended and Raphael picked her up despite having 3 board meetings he'd rescheduled, they sat in his parked car outside her building. "The board approved expanded clinic funding," he said. 20 new facilities in underserved areas. Your idea about community health workers is the centerpiece. Our idea. You wrote the proposal. You lived the proof of concept." Michael babbled from his car seat, reaching for Isadora. She unbuckled him, settled him on her lap where he belonged. "I still think this is complicated," she said quietly. "It is. Your world and mine, they don't match." "No, but maybe that's not a problem to fix. Maybe it's just the truth we build from." She looked at him. This man who'd learned to grieve publicly, to admit mistakes, to value competence over credentials, who'd stood in front of a board and defended the woman they wanted erased. "I'm not going to be easy," she warned. "I don't want easy. I want real." Michael grabbed both their hands, pulling them together with the casual authority of someone who knew what his family should look like. Outside, the South Side hummed with life. Sirens and music, survival and hope. Inside the car, 3 people who'd boarded the wrong jet and found the right landing sat in silence that felt like home. "Come upstairs," Isadora said. "Marina's video calling soon. She'll want to show you her scholarship application." Raphael smiled, genuine, unguarded, the expression of a man who'd finally stopped performing. "I'd like that." They walked into her building together, carrying Michael in grocery bags and the weight of a future they were learning to build, not from privilege or poverty, but from the radical act of seeing each other clearly and choosing to stay anyway. The elevator rattled upward. Michael laughed. Somewhere above, Marina was probably practicing her presentation. Lucas was hopefully studying instead of scrolling job sites. It wasn't a fairy tale, just people doing the hard work of becoming family. And sometimes, that's the only ending that matters.